First contact. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel Artemis, her weathered hands gripping the command console as she stared at the impossible readings displayed before her. After 30 years in space exploration, she thought she had seen everything the cosmos could offer. She was wrong. The signal had appeared 12 hours ago, emanating from Titan's northern hemisphere with a precision that defied natural explanation. It pulsed with mathematical perfection, each burst containing layers of complex data that made her science officer's eyes widen with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this," Dr. David Park called from his station, his usually calm voice trembling with barely contained enthusiasm. "The signal isn't just artificial. It's deliberately aimed at Earth. Someone, or something, wants us to find it." Elena moved to Park's station, studying the cascading data streams. The patterns were unlike anything in their databases, yet they possessed an elegant simplicity that suggested advanced intelligence. After decades of searching the stars for signs of life, humanity had finally received an answer. "Set course for Titan," Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. "Maximum safe speed, and notify Earth Command. Tell them we may have found what we've been looking for." The journey to Saturn's largest moon took 3 days at full thrust. During that time, the signal grew stronger, more complex, revealing hidden layers of information that their computers struggled to decode. It was as if someone was gradually teaching them a new language, starting with simple concepts and building toward more sophisticated communication. As the Artemis entered Titan's orbit, their sensors detected something that shouldn't exist. A structure beneath the moon's methane lakes, perfectly geometric and radiating energy signatures unknown to human science. Elena ordered a cautious approach, every defensive system online despite having no idea what weapons might work against an alien threat. Then it happened. A section of Titan's surface shifted, liquid methane flowing away to reveal a crystalline dome that sparkled with internal light. From within emerged a vessel unlike anything humanity had imagined. Sleek, organic curves merged with geometric precision, its hull seeming to shift between solid matter and pure energy. "All hands to battle stations," Elena ordered, though she kept their weapons powered down. First contact protocols were clear: observe, communicate, but never fire first. The alien ship approached slowly, deliberately, until it hung motionless 1,000 meters from the Artemis. Then, without warning, their communication systems activated on their own, displaying a face that was undeniably not human. The being had features that seemed designed to be non-threatening: large, intelligent eyes in a symmetrical face, skin that shimmered with subtle bioluminescence, and an expression that somehow conveyed both wisdom and benevolence. When it spoke, the words came in perfect, unaccented English. "Captain Elena Vasquez of Earth Vessel Artemis. I am Ambassador Cortex of the Zephyrian Collective, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your species' development with great interest. You have reached the threshold of interstellar capability, and we come bearing an invitation." Elena stepped forward, her training taking over despite the surreal nature of the moment. "Ambassador Cortex, I am honored to make first contact on behalf of humanity. May I ask how long you've been watching us? Your species has shown remarkable potential over the past several centuries," Cortex replied, his features shifting in what might have been a smile. "The Galactic Council consists of 74 spacefaring civilizations, united in our pursuit of knowledge, peace, and mutual prosperity. We offer humanity membership in this grand alliance." The conversation that followed changed everything. Cortex spoke of technologies that could eliminate disease, provide unlimited clean energy, and enable faster-than-light travel. He described a galaxy teeming with life, where species work together to solve the great mysteries of existence. It was everything humanity had dreamed of and more. Within days, Council ships appeared in Earth orbit, their arrival broadcast to every corner of the planet. Cortex and his delegation met with world leaders, scientists, and cultural representatives, always patient, always offering more wonders. They demonstrated medical devices that could repair cellular damage at the molecular level, energy systems that drew power from quantum fluctuations, and transportation networks that could move matter across space instantly. The decision was unanimous. The United Nations voted to accept the Council's offer, and humanity officially became the newest member of the galactic community. Council advisors arrived to help implement their technologies, establishing integration centers in major cities worldwide. The transformation began immediately. But Elena Vasquez, the woman who had made first contact, found herself troubled by small details that didn't quite fit. The council members never ate in front of humans, claiming incompatible nutritional needs. They worked in shifts that seemed designed to ensure at least some were always awake and monitoring. And there were areas of their ships and facilities that remained strictly off-limits, explained away as containing technologies too advanced for humanity's current understanding. She pushed these concerns aside, lost in the euphoria of humanity's greatest achievement. The stars were finally within reach, and the Galactic Council had opened the door. What could possibly go wrong with such benevolent guides leading the way? As she stood on the observation deck of the expanded space station, watching council ships ferry supplies and advisors to Earth, Elena didn't notice the encrypted data streams flowing between the vessels. She didn't see the subtle scanning beams that swept across Earth's surface every few hours, cataloging and analyzing. She didn't know that in council databases, Earth had already been assigned a designation, Harvest World 2847. The integration had begun, and with it, humanity's greatest trial. The Galactic Council had arrived, bringing gifts beyond imagination. But every gift has a price, and humanity was about to learn that some prices are paid in blood, freedom, and the very essence of what makes a species unique. The integration. 6 months after first contact, Earth had transformed beyond recognition. Council medical centers stood gleaming in every major city, their curved walls and soft lighting creating an atmosphere of serenity and healing. Energy stations hummed silently in former industrial zones, providing clean power that made fossil fuels obsolete overnight. The integration was proceeding exactly as promised, ushering in what media called the golden age of humanity. Lieutenant Marcus Chen watched the latest council transport ship dock at the Beijing Integration Center from his office window. As head of security for the facility, he was responsible for managing the steady stream of human volunteers who came seeking the miraculous treatments the council offered. Everything from cancer to genetic disorders could be cured with a simple procedure that took less than an hour. But something bothered Marcus, a persistent itch at the back of his mind that grew stronger each day. In 6 months of operation, not a single volunteer had reported negative side effects. Not one procedure had failed. In his 20 years of military service, Marcus had learned that nothing was ever perfect. Yet the council's technology seemed to be exactly that. "Sir, the morning volunteer group is ready for processing," his assistant reported through the intercom. Marcus acknowledged and made his way to the intake area. 30 people sat in comfortable chairs, filling out digital forms on council-provided tablets. They ranged from elderly individuals seeking renewed vitality to young parents hoping to eliminate hereditary conditions from their family lines. All wore expressions of hope and anticipation. As he performed his security check, Marcus noticed something that deepened his unease. According to the records, over 50,000 people had been treated at this facility alone. Yet he couldn't recall seeing any of them return for follow-up visits. The council claimed their treatments were so effective that follow-ups were unnecessary, but medical practice didn't work that way. There should be checkups, monitoring, something. That evening, Marcus decided to investigate. Using his security clearance, he accessed the facility's complete volunteer database. The numbers were staggering. 2.3 million humans had undergone council medical procedures worldwide. He cross-referenced the names with public records, social media, employment databases. What he found made his blood run cold. 7% of the volunteers had effectively vanished. Not dead, There were no death certificates, no funeral notices. They simply ceased to exist in any recordable way. No social media updates, no employment records, no financial transactions. When Marcus tried to contact their listed family members, he found disconnected numbers and invalid addresses. He wasn't the only one noticing discrepancies. Dr. Sarah Goldman, a geneticist working at the New York Integration Center, had been analyzing the medical data the Council shared with human scientists. Her expertise in molecular biology made her one of the few humans capable of understanding even a fraction of the Council's advanced biotechnology. Sarah had initially been thrilled by the assignment, eager to learn from a civilization that had conquered disease and aging. But as she delved deeper into the data, patterns emerged that defied explanation. The Council's medical procedures didn't just repair damage or eliminate disease. They fundamentally altered human DNA in ways that seemed unnecessary for the stated treatments. Every single procedure includes a baseline genetic modification. She explained to her colleague, Dr. James Wright, over secure communication. They're not just healing people. They're changing them at the molecular level. Maybe it's necessary for the treatments to work properly, James suggested, though his voice carried doubt. That's what I thought at first. But look at this. Sarah shared her analysis screen. These modifications target specific gene sequences that have nothing to do with disease resistance or longevity. They're altering genes related to aggression, independence, and creative thinking. It's like they're trying to make humans more compliant. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, Alex Rivera sat in a cramped basement laboratory surrounded by jury-rigged equipment. As one of Earth's premier communication specialists, he had been recruited to help integrate Council communication systems with human networks. Instead, he spent his nights trying to crack the encryption on Council transmissions. The official channels were clean, carrying exactly what the Council claimed: technical data, medical information, and cultural exchange programs. But Alex had detected other signals, tightly focused beams that operated on frequencies barely within human detection capabilities. These signals were encrypted with algorithms that made quantum encryption look like a child's puzzle. After weeks of work, Alex finally achieved a partial breakthrough. He couldn't decode the transmissions completely, but he could extract fragments of data. What he found sent chills down his spine. Phase 2 integration proceeding on schedule. Genetic compliance markers at 67% saturation. Prepare harvesting facilities for activation. Population reduction protocols ready for implementation. Alex stared at the words, trying to convince himself they meant something other than what they appeared to mean. But combined with the missing volunteers, the genetic modifications, and the Council's obsessive control over certain areas of their facilities, a terrifying picture began to emerge. He reached out to others who might share his concerns, using encrypted channels he had developed years before first contact. Slowly, carefully, a network began to form. Marcus Chen with his security access and military training, Dr. Sarah Goldman with her genetic expertise, and a handful of others who had noticed pieces of a larger puzzle. They called themselves the Watchers, and they met in person only when absolutely necessary, aware that Council technology could be monitoring electronic communications. Their first physical meeting took place in an abandoned subway station, deep enough underground to potentially block Council sensors. We need more evidence, Marcus argued. Right now, all we have are suspicions and fragments. No government will act against the Council based on this. By the time we have ironclad proof, it might be too late, Sarah countered. The genetic modifications are spreading exponentially. Whatever they're planning, we're already in the middle of it. Alex pulled out a device he had cobbled together from salvaged parts. I might have a way to get more information. I've been studying their technology, and I think I found a vulnerability in their local communications network. If I can tap into it directly, we might be able to access their internal databases. The plan was dangerous. It required physical access to a Council facility's core systems, something strictly forbidden to humans. But they had an unexpected ally. David Park, Alina Vasquez's science officer from the Artemis, now serving as a liaison between Council scientists and human researchers. David had maintained his position through the integration, using his knowledge of the first contact to gain trust from both sides. But like the others, he had noticed troubling signs. Council scientists would sometimes speak in their own language when they thought no humans were listening. David had secretly recorded these conversations, and while he couldn't understand the words, their tones suggested heated debates and moral conflicts. "Not all of them agree with what's happening," David told the group. "I think there's dissension in their ranks. Some seem genuinely interested in helping humanity, while others look at us like specimens in a laboratory." The Watchers made their move 3 weeks later. Using David's access, they infiltrated the secure areas of the London Integration Center during a shift change. Alex connected his device to the Council's network while the others stood guard, their hearts pounding as alien security systems hummed around them. The download took only minutes, but it felt like hours. They escaped without detection, carrying terabytes of encrypted Council data. Back in their hidden laboratory, Alex began the decryption process. What they found exceeded their worst fears. The Galactic Council wasn't a benevolent alliance of species. It was a collective of dying civilizations that sustained themselves by harvesting the genetic material of younger species. Earth wasn't being integrated. It was being prepared for harvest. The medical procedures, the genetic modifications, even the miraculous technologies were all part of a process the Council had refined over millennia. According to the data, humanity had approximately 1 year before the harvest began. When it did, 90% of the human population would be processed for their genetic material. The remaining 10% would be kept as a slave species, genetically modified for compliance and servitude. But the data also revealed something unexpected. Humanity was different. Most species reached genetic stability as they evolved, their DNA becoming less adaptable over time. Humans, somehow, had maintained a level of genetic plasticity that the Council found both fascinating and essential. Earth's harvest wasn't just another resource extraction. It was critical to the Council's survival. The Watchers now faced an impossible challenge. They had the truth, but who would believe them? The world's governments were intoxicated by Council technology. The media celebrated every new advancement. The general population saw the Council as saviors who had lifted humanity into a golden age. But there was one more piece of information in the stolen data, a detail that changed everything. The Council's technology, for all its advancement, had a fatal flaw. Every system they had given to humanity contained hidden kill switches, ways to shut down or reprogram the technology remotely. But those same systems were vulnerable to a specific type of electromagnetic pulse that humans could generate with their own technology. The Watchers had found the Council's weakness. Now they had to decide how to use it before time ran out. The integration continued around them, each day bringing humanity closer to a fate worse than extinction. But for the first time since the Council's arrival, there was hope. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to find solutions in the face of impossible odds. The war for Earth's survival had begun, fought not with weapons but with knowledge, courage, and the one thing the Council hadn't expected: human ingenuity paired with desperate determination. The integration would continue, but now humanity had warriors in the shadows, preparing for the battle that would determine the fate of their species.